A few days ago, a few people were having a discussion with me on my Discord server. We were talking about what is head voice and what is chest voice, as well as how to access them or how to tell which one you're using at the moment. So a chest voice is most likely, not always, but most likely how you talk. Almost all people talk in their chest voice, including me, right now. I actually don't know why, but maybe that's just a intuitive thing for human beings to do. But what does it sound if I talk in head voice? What happens if I try to talk in my head voice? I would sound like I was mimicking Mickey the Mouse. So, if I try to talk in my head voice, I would sound like this. This is my head voice. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is chest voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And head voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You can hear the clear difference. How do we put into words the difference between these two voices? Usually, personally, I would describe the chest voice, which is my current voice, as focused and precise and grounded. That's how I would describe it. And for head voice, I would describe it as fluty, like a flute. Is this how you hold a flute? This? Like a flute. Like an owl. Like when owl goes, whoo, whoo. And very, very floaty. That's how I would describe a head voice. So there are these two very distinct voices you can use. And physically, they are produced by. Now you can look at the picture here. First, look at this upper left arrow. It is pointing at something that's called thyroid something muscle. So this set of longer muscles in the middle, if I remember correctly, it doesn't actually matter for a singer to actually know which one is which. But basically, I think the middle ones, they produce chest voice, and the outer ones, how do I do this? Yes, like this. The outer ones, these green arrows, the cryothyroid muscles on the outer, like more exterior than the thyroid something muscle, they are in charge of your head voice. They are in charge of the head voice. And usually people would just call them the CT muscle or the TA muscle. The CT muscle is this one, and the TA muscle is this one. And you don't really need to memorize which one does which. You just need to know that physically, these two voices operate from a different source or a controller for your vocal folds. So the vocal folds are the very thin silver, I guess you could call them lines between in the middle of those two muscles, those strings of muscles. In the middle of it, there's a silver, like a lining, right? Those are the vocal folds, and they are controlled by these different muscles. And when When the middle two muscles are in charge, these ones, they're in charge, you're producing more chest voice. In the outer, when the outer muscles are more in charge, you produce more head voice. But what happens when the two kinds of muscles are both engaged? Then you produce what is called a mixed voice. A mixed voice is basically these two voices existing at the same time. Therefore, they're mixing. And these two sounds happening at the same time you can actually distribute different ratios of the two sounds. Or you can describe it as you can control which muscle is more dominant over the other muscle and at what percentage. Therefore, you can produce, some people will call them head mix, chest mix, or a balanced mix, which is basically 50-50. But the mixed voice is not like three layers. We just make it easier and describe it like that. There are infinite variations you can distribute the dominant level between these two muscles. Now let's talk about how to access the two of them if you are not sure. To access the chest voice or to engage the TA muscles, are they the TA? Yes, the TA muscles. To engage them, you can do this very easy thing, like this. That's it. Just any sound like make your throat engage and pop. Instead of you go. There's no H for the onset of this sound. Just a voice popping out of your vocal folds. This sound can help us engage the TA muscles. Therefore, mainly producing the chest voice. And to access the head voice, I would personally describe it as just mimic an owl. Hoo, hoo, and go hoo. And the vowel of oo is very helpful for accessing head voice for some reason. It's very complex in our human body, and I'm not knowledgeable enough to explain all the connections, but the O vowel is very easy for us to discover head voice if you are not used to it yet. Hoo, hoo. After discovering these voices, if you want to, you can strengthen them. And what do I mean by strengthen? Basically, you strengthen the muscles, the TA muscles, and or the CT muscles. And the more strengthened they are, the more stamina you have for controlling your vocal folds in chest voice or in head voice or in mixed voice, depending on, or all of them, depending on how much work you do on these muscles. And when these muscles are so strong, your stamina in that specific register or in that specific voice will be just huge. You can use that voice for a long time before you're tired. But this image here is the inside of our throat from top to down. Like if you cut a person open and from up to down, inside your air pipe. So imagine this is like inside our throat. So in my screen, if I were to be proportionally accurate, it would probably be like this size. Would be the actual size of the thing in my throat. Roughly, I guess. I'm not sure. Or even, I think even smaller. Like this. This is the actual size, or even smaller, of these muscles that I'm presenting on the screen. This here is way scaled up. So these muscles, in fact, are so tiny They are very, very small and delicate. And when training such delicate muscles, you have to be very mindful of when it starts to get tired. And when it does, you better stop. You better rest. You better do some cool down, like lip trills. And no matter how strong they are, or no matter how strong they become, because they are so small by default, they are not built to be as strong as, for example, your biceps. Like way different. They are way smaller, way weaker, but you can train them to maximize your head voice or your chest voice or your mix or all of them. And by the method we train them is like any other muscle. Use them a lot, use them frequently, give them rest, and use them a lot, and give them rest, and that's it. So that's why some vocal exercises they do repeated things like over and over again, like la 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 la, me 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 me, you 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 you. These different vowels can help us naturally engage these different muscles and to just basically to use them over and over, and that'll grow those muscles. But before you do that, you have to make sure that the previous lessons, aka the breathing and the diaphragm power thing, those are, and the relaxation thing, these things are very, very crucial before you start doing these trainings. Because if you don't have those basics down, you're going to compensate for the lack of support from your diaphragm and tense up your whole neck. We don't want to train the neck. We just want to train those tiny muscles inside our throat. If the neck is tensed up, you're not going to have a good time training those tiny muscles inside your throat. So let's go over some easy exercise you can do to strengthen your. Let's start with chest voice. So let's use the vowel of ah. And just go la la la. Let's go la la la. And the musical scale will be this. Okay, so let's try this. La 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 la. And make sure your voice is focused and not, like for example, not airy, like la 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 la. We don't want airy or whispery sound. We want la 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 la. We want the voice to sound like we're actually talking. We're not talking like this unless you have a vocal damage, right? We're talking like this, so we want to sound like this when we train the chest voice. La 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 la. So let's go up more. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. And you have to be very precise with the vowel of ah. We don't want ah. There's nothing wrong with ah. We just want to make sure when we train something, we keep everything in control, and we only change the vowel when we want to, right? If we've already chosen ah, we don't want to change it at all. That way, we know how to navigate the different pitches with that certain vowel. Ah. Let's do more. La 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 la. So this will probably be very high for most male. So this is just a very tiny introduction of what you can train in the future, but you don't have to go this high at the start. Also, this scale covers a whole octave. La 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 la. It is quite wide and rangy. So if you're not ready to span these like huge difference already, you can do just a simple do re mi fa sol. La 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 la. This will be easier, and eventually you will get to la 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 la. But again, this is very high. But because the width is way smaller, so you can move it up or move it down more progressively. I forgot the word I was thinking about. Now let's talk about head voice. Usually when people think about head voice, they are higher than our chest voice, which is correct. But if we train the CT muscles enough, we can actually bring the head voice down and cover the entire range of the head voice. Because there's actually no like rule that you can only use that sound in a high range. But it's easier to use it at a high range. For example, la, 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 la. Right? But even in low parts, we can still do it. So let's try to work it down. La, 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 la. So this is me bringing my head voice down into those mid register of my voice type. I'm a baritone. And so this will feel very hard if you are not used to using a head voice because of two factors. One is obviously we're bringing lower notes into head voice, or we're bringing head voice into lower notes. And the second factor is we're using the vowel ah. The vowel ah is actually very like our human bodies are actually more prone to using chest voice instead of head voice for the vowel of ah. For the vowel of ah, it is harder to use the chest the head voice. So what can we do about it? We use another vowel for practice, and then eventually our body will build up the muscle memory enough that we're going to be able to use whatever vowel we want in either chest, head, or mix. So which vowel we use? It is the same oo vowel, and we can say you instead of just oo, because if we just say oo, it is going to activate that TA muscle a lot, like ooh 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 ooh. You can hear there's a snap open of the sound, or in your throat, ooh 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 ooh. But if we say you, it will be you 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 you. There's no such like clear onset of the sound that is like snap open. So let's try with you. The vowel of you, and from the low notes we used earlier. You 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 you. You're going to feel, especially as we go up, you're more prone to using the head voice instead of the chest voice. You can still, if you were intentional enough, you can keep it in the chest voice, of course, but instinctually we will want to use the head voice. You 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 you. I can already feel it's way more open in a head cavity instead of the sound focused in the chest voice. If the sound is focused in chest voice while I use the U sound, it would sound like this. You. But instinctually, I sound like this. You. So let's try to go back more with the vowel, with this pronunciation of you. Okay? Oh shit. And depending on everyone's different level of familiarity to with the head voice, your voice might switch fully into head voice at different points. However, this exercise currently, I'm just trying to show you guys that even low or mid voices can be produced using head voice instead of only like strictly with chest voice. And what happens when we go into the higher sounds? It is very hard for me to keep it in the chest voice. If I did, it would sound like this. It is uncomfortable for me. So I'm actually mixing my voice instead of in fully head voice. If I allow the head voice to fully happen, it would sound like this. But since these notes aren't especially high for my voice type, I am only mixing instead of using the head voice fully. That makes my ear itchy. Okay, so let's go even higher. What will happen? So in here, it's very easy for me to access the head voice fully. Because these notes are very, very high for my voice type. So it is no longer easy at all to use the chest voice to produce these sounds. If I tried, let me try. It is not comfortable at all. And even with that attempt just now, I was also mixing. My body just doesn't allow me to lock the voice in the chest voice because it would be damaging to my fragile tissues in there. But instinctually, I went. So that's my full head voice. But I can keep it in the mix. Yeah, not easy, but I can. And I'm not a good mixer. I've never trained it like hard. Now let's try the pronunciation of me, like me. Again, from the low notes. Me. I think me is an easy vowel to stay in the chest while in low notes, and easy to switch into the head voice in the high notes. So let's keep going and see it happens for you guys. Me. Me. So it happens for me, at least for my voice. But don't feel bad or discouraged if you cannot access any of these voices we talk about today. It just means your body is not attuned to it or accustomed to it yet. It can happen. It will happen if you spend enough time training these two muscle groups or muscle types.